This case is going to blow your mind, and there is no doubt about that. Ms. Ramos appears in court to prove that her ex-fiancé is the father of their baby. The ex-fiancé, Mr. Edwards, on the other hand, says she changed her due dates just so she could make him the father.
Ms. Ramos, you are in court to prove that your ex-fiancé, Mr. Edwards, fathered your 1-month-old son, Xavier. You claim that after sharing your news, trying to convince him he's not the dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she just say she is not the only one? Yo! That's just crazy. What even surprises me the most is the fact that she said different women walk up to her and tell her that he is not the father of her child. I'm sure she doesn't trust him at all.
He started doing the cheating from the whole time. Me and him wasn't even actually in a relationship. Like, we were...
Wait a minute.
In the beginning, like...
You all are in a relationship.
And, you know, and I didn't know it was gonna go on to this point.
So how serious?
Oh, that's when it really got serious.
So you all were in a serious relationship?
Yep.
Wow. Looks like Ms. Ramos was no saint after all. She claims that things were not serious between her and Mr. Edwards, which resulted in her sleeping with her ex. But in her story, things got very serious when she conceived her baby. There are so many loopholes in her story.
Point do you find out she cheated?
At the beginning, when she was at least like a month pregnant, that's when she had slept with a relative of mine.
I disagree. It's not even a blood relative, first of all. It was all through marriage.
Ms. Ramos cannot be serious right now. She just admitted to sleeping with one of his family members when she was just a month pregnant. Wow. In her defense, she says that she only slept with him because she knew they were not on good terms. Well, hello! That doesn't change the fact that he is a family member.
Now, the relative of mine is the person that story was that she was asleep and he was going in and out of her.
Ms. Ramos, so you were sleeping and someone had sex with you?
Actually, I've been broke up with that ex in June, a whole month before me and him even got reunited.
What on earth is wrong with this woman? First, she admits to sleeping with Mr. Edwards' cousin. Now she's telling the judge that she wasn't fully aware it was happening. I mean, can you have sex with someone and not be aware it's happening? Lady, just tell the truth.
Just too many times where she slept with people. Then the one time, she had texted my phone and said that she had another confession. She wanted me to meet her at the grocery store. As I'm approaching, she was, looking in the freezer and stuff, and she started to cry. She slept with a guy.
Just like Judge Lauren, I cannot hide my disgust right now. Aside from sleeping with her ex, she says that she slept with another man and caught 2 sexually transmitted diseases. All this happened with a baby in her womb. I mean, what was she thinking?
He asked me to marry him.
So after all this, Mr. Edwards, you agreed to marry Ms. Ramos? You asked her to marry you?
Yes, with the child, in play. And
so, Mr. Edwards, when you found out she was pregnant, did you believe you were the child's biological father?
No.
I mean, he kind of has every right to feel that way. There is no way on earth she is going to do all the things she did and expect that he would just overlook them and not doubt the paternity of her child. What's even surprising is that he asked her to marry her. I wonder why.
And Ms. Ramos, this upsets you?
Yes, it upsets me bad. It upsets me very bad.
Mr. Edwards, I'm looking at these pictures presented to the court. Sure. That doesn't look like a look of doubt. You look like a happy dad in those pictures. What are you thinking in that moment?
I'm siding with the judge on that one. Mr. Edward actually looks like a happy father in that picture. One would honestly think he had been waiting to have that baby for a really long time. But still, Ms. Ramos's actions would make any man doubt he is the father of the baby.
So he didn't sign the birth certificate, but you still gave Xavier his last name?
Because him and his father told me to give him his last name. They were both there.
I did tell her to give the child my last name.
If you still...
Mr. Edwards, you've asked this woman to marry you for the birth of this baby. You've taken the father photos.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Lauren has a point there. Mr. Edwards did everything right. From the moment he found out she was pregnant till the moment the baby came into the world. He played the role of a father. But if he didn't trust her, why didn't he back out from the beginning?
How about you answer the question about how the baby was born a month and 2 weeks early?
Oh, I can't help it if he was born a month early.
Wait a minute now, Mr. Edwards. You say, in your mind, you're putting together a month early and already pregnant for a month. Is that where you get your doubt from?
This has got to be the most complicated situation I have ever seen in this courtroom. Even Mr. Edwards' witness says that she knew Ms. Ramos was sleeping about before she got into a relationship with Mr. Edward. Well, let's see if the results can bring an end to this disaster.
Mr. Edwards, you are the father.
Thank you. I want you to apologize to our son. I want you to apologize to him because I told you since day one.
This man has a mistress, but he wants to save his marriage and right his wrongs. Not sure that paternity court is the perfect scene for that, but let's see how that goes down. After dating her for months, Mr. Heartfield asked his mistress to have a baby for him since he has not been able to have any of his own.
What is the truth according to you?
The truth is, I believe that it's possible that she's thinking about someone else because she and I did meet, that is a fact, and we did talk, and I found her to be very attractive at the time. And I even, did things to convince her that, okay, maybe I will be a guy that she could take a chance with for us.
The way this man jumped into Ms. Streeter's statement is suspicious. He really did not let her finish, but went on to announce to Judge Lake that she's lying about everything she's saying. Now, what is she lying about, Mr. Heartfield?
I had went on Facebook and found the relative, then found Mrs. Heartfield page, then that's when I seen pictures of them. I text her and let her know, like, your husband's been treating on you for 8 months and I'm 5 months pregnant.
Oh my God.
So that's
Is
why.
that true, sir?
No, it is not.
I have a
been trying
text
to be with
message right
Miss
here.
Streeter?
He texted me last night. I have the proof right here.
Whoa, Mr. Heartfield. Looks like we were all unfamiliar. So he's still in her DMs asking for sex? And what's all this about stalking his relative? This man lied about him being married, or at least he hid the truth. She stalked him until she found his wife on social media, then shot her a text.
This is a text that says, no, I'm horny, and then come over. And the next line says, I'm serious, I am horny as hell.
That is true. I did send those messages.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I
But
did.
he's a-
Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play.
This entire thing is almost hilarious. Almost. The humor leaves the minute you realize that Mr. Heartfield is older than double her age. He texted her earlier this week about how horny he is. Well, Mr. Heartfield, perhaps you should go to meet your wife. What sort of silly, lying, dishonest man is this?
She found one that was an older guy, and she thought that I would be a cake daddy, or however you want to call it. The thing is that she found out, hey, you're dealing with a guy that ain't got no money, so now you waste your
That's
time.
not
Now
true.
Oh my goodness, it's so disheartening that this man could possibly be the father of this baby. Honestly, he's a clown, a joker, whatever. You name it. At this point, he's painting all the pictures possible to support all his baseless lies.
Your wife does not look happy.
Your Honor,
Your
let me
wife
say
is
something.
sitting there having to listen to
Okay.
testimony
Okay.
about you
Okay.
sending text messages
Right.
to a 22-year-old girl.
Really, look at his wife staring at him the moment he opened his mouth. It's hard to imagine that she would be feeling anything other than shame and regret right now from being married to this excuse of a husband. What a woman. She really has no expectations from this man, and she knows him so well.
When you look at this queen right here, my wife, I love her. God knows I do. During the time that Dominique and I met, I had my own place.
He was
Dominique
still
had her
living
own
with
place.
me. I didn't know he had his own place.
Wait a minute, I don't need her support. I don't need your support.
No.
I don't need her support. Please sit her down.
Oh my goodness, this is getting embarrassing. Mr. Heartfield, maybe you should sit down instead. What does he mean calling his wife a queen, then telling her to sit down, adding that he does not understand why she's here? What an excuse for a husband, really.
You getting flustered.
I don't like it. That's why I stepped out and had intercourse.
Oh, now it's her fault.
Because I never got her support.
He had more girlfriends
telling
than he
that.
was talking to me. When I first met him, he had a lot of women he talked to.
Of course.
So not only
Truth,
was it
let
me,
the truth
it
come
was
out.
other people.
Let the truth come out. That's exactly what I said.
Okay, this man puts the S in stupid. It's official. He came into court today saying that he wants to save his marriage and the results of the paternity test are important to him because he wants to redeem himself in front of his wife.
This is
That's
baby
me.
Caleb
That's right. I did
together.
that last week, actually.
Also,
Something else.
Baby, sit down, please. You ain't got nothing to do with this.
I sure
Go
don't
ahead,
have
y'all.
anything to do with it.
I wish you
Pick
had
your
a
lie.
chance. Why are you here?
Mr. Heartfield,
Yes.
I'm gonna let you pipe down just a little
Okay,
bit because your tone, I don't know what part of this you think you running.
Oh yes, Judge Lake. Mr. Heartfield is pissing everyone off in court. It's genuinely surprising that this man has these two women with him in court today. It's almost baffling if you ask me. This is the one time that two women are in paternity court over a man and they are not cursing each other.
You're classic. You really are.
Thank you, y'all.
If I pulled up the profile of cheater, con man, clown, and coward,
Results.
your face would be next to it. Up here with your wife standing next to you. That's your wife.
She's my 7th wife, Your Honor.
Oh my goodness, every single outburst from this man is irritating. This is his 7th wife? How long have you been manipulating women, Mr. Heartfield? My goodness, this needs to end. This case, I mean. Here are the results.
Mr. Heartfield, you are the father.
Okay, that's cool. That's okay.
Do you understand now what you just made a child with?
Right.
No, look at me. I don't know what he told you up until this point. I will say that con men like him, they can be very charismatic. You two are both very beautiful young women. You don't have to deal with this.
She had sex with his best friend and multiple men. At least this is what Mr. Gonzalez argues today in court. Ms. Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez were a match made in heaven, or so they thought. But today, these two cannot seem to agree on a single thing.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I was drunk, he came over, he got me at the right time.
Okay, so you had sex with him just one time?
Yes.
What an interesting revelation from her very first retort in court. She does not like Hispanic men, I see. Oh, Ms. Salvo, nobody asked about your sexual preference. If you're so particular about Hispanic men, explain the Hispanic baby in court right now. You were drunk, huh?
Now, Ms. Salvo, you claim that this testimony is false. It's incorrect.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you had sex with Mr. Gonzalez one time.
Yes.
And so it is your contention that that sexual encounter is what made beautiful Amaya.
What a woman. She is right, though. It takes just one time. Now, here's the question. Who's lying between them? Is it Mr. Gonzalez with his 6-time count or Ms. Salvo with his 1-time hit? Regardless of what it is, someone is definitely going to have a mountain of regret.
Is that the only reason you excluded your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Is because you felt like Amaya looked Hispanic and not black?
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does.
Well, would you look at that? Every single time, one person in court always feels entitled to the semblance card. If Ms. Salvo thinks her baby belongs to Mr. Gonzalez simply because she looks like him, she really has no valid point, especially after having sex with other men. Who's to say that her ex-boyfriend does not have Hispanic ancestry?
5 days later, I get in the car with my best friend. He's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, I'm sorry, Julio, but I gotta show you something. I'm like, what you mean you gotta show me something? He showed me naked pictures of Ashley like this.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Your
Yes, Your
Honor.
Honor.
Whoa. She did what? Now, why was Mr. Gonzalez's friend at her house? More so, how do the pictures exist if Ms. Salvo never takes naked pictures like she said? These pictures are suggestive and Mr. Gonzalez has nothing to gain from lying about them. Now again, who is lying between these two?
I guess what you would call it fast. That was when 18 and under. Yeah, I was young and dumb at that time. I conceived my daughter at 18.
So you had grown up that year?
Whoa. Let's get one thing straight first. She was pregnant with her baby when she was what? The amount of teenage pregnancies on paternity court is absolutely alarming. Also, Ms. Salvo is admitting to being promiscuous. Now all that is left is to figure out which of them is lying.
One night, we're all hanging out next to my mama's house, having fun. This Mexican guy keep looking mad at me like he want to fight me or something. Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I tell him, you're the baby daddy.
Was that your response to that question, Ms. Salvo?
Oh my goodness. What are these stories about different men coming up at various intervals? Why is a random man from her elementary school coming into her life right now? If truly it was elementary school, why then did he want a baby by you? Damn.
You know, it seemed as if you were hoping Amaya was your daughter.
I want Amaya to be my daughter.
You do?
Yeah, she's an innocent little girl. The baby used to come to my house. I swear, my mom's not here, my mom passed away, but if my mom was here, she'll tell you. My mom will feed her. My mom will get her everything.
Oh, what a woman. Bless her dear soul. She did all of that for the baby amidst the thick fog of doubt in the air that the baby may not be her son's. It really helps nobody when one person says one thing and the other person claims another story. Now that all of the fog is gone, we simply cannot wait to get the results.
If she is your biological child,
I would like to have weekends.
you're going to step up to the plate
Yes, ma'am.
and do what needs to be done to care for this beautiful little girl?
Yes, Your Honor.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read,
What a guy. Now, we get to find out whose story holds water. From Ms. Salvo denying all the cheating allegations to Mr. Gonzalez claiming that his fiancée slept with 1 million men and some. Who made the mistake and who is going to regret their silly decisions?
Mr. Gonzalez, it has been determined by this court that you are not the father.
Excuse me, Your Honor, that no matter what, even if they say no, I still want to be part of Amaya's life because my dad raised me since I was 6 weeks in my mom's belly, and that's a real man right there. I never met my real dad.
This is one messy situation you will never forget, trust me. Ms. Bargy found herself in the middle of 2 men, her husband and her ex-boyfriend. The crazy thing about this situation was that both men believed they were the father of Ms. Bargy's baby, and she had no idea who the father was. She started her case by saying this.
Ms. Bargy, you admit you cheated on your husband and now you are caught in a paternity triangle, with both men believing they fathered your 2-month-old daughter, McKenna.
Yes, ma'am.
You are hoping today's DNA results prove that your husband is her father.
At least she's not denying making a mistake, and the beautiful part is that she wants to find a way out. Judge Lauren, understanding the intensity of the situation, proceeds to ask her husband what type of bond he had built with the child. As you would expect, he loved the baby beyond words could explain.
Mr. Bargy?
Yes.
You've fallen in love with McKenna.
Yes.
Tell me about the relationship you have with her.
I could be at work for 10 to 12 hours a day. I take 5 minutes out of my time, busy or not at work, video call, sit here like that right there. I wake her up when I get home.
Aren't they just cute in that video? Anyway, Mr. Lawson, the ex-boyfriend, wasn't ready to give up his claim of being the father of the child, even after seeing Ms. Bargy's husband and the baby bond so well.
I believe I am because I was around. She was with me when she got pregnant. I was there for the whole pregnancy. I was there when McKenna was born.
Ms. Bargy, can you explain to the court how we got here?
I was having issues with my husband when I came back. We had been together for about a month and we ended up having intimate time.
It seems like the break from her marriage took a wild turn, and now she's paying for the consequences. Now trust me, that's not all. When she found out she was pregnant, she told Mr. Lawson before her husband. Why? Because they were living together at the time. Jeez.
The day that I found out was the end of April. It was April the 27th. The whole month of April I was getting sick, and I took a pregnancy test, and then it came back that I was pregnant.
Even Judge Lauren was disappointed to hear that, but there was more disappointment coming her way. Ms. Bargy never mentioned the pregnancy to her husband. She claimed she didn't have the courage to confront him about it, but here's how he found out.
The time when you actually got up the courage to tell your husband that you were pregnant and McKenna could be his child.
I did not tell my husband, period. He had a mutual friend that was on my Facebook, and they had actually sent him a picture of me posting an ultrasound, and then he started contacting me, and then finally I had to sit down with him and talk to him and tell him.
Wow. So she was sleeping with Mr. Lawson and her husband at the same time? That explains why they both feel they could be possible fathers of the baby. But the truth, bombs keep getting worse. Ms. Bargy went on to tell the judge that she found out that her husband was also sleeping with his ex.
One time, and that was due to the fact that he had spoken to one of my friends and they had talked about actually being together. It was, my friend was one of his exes. His ex actually messaged me and was showing me messages that him and her were sleeping together when me and him.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Oh, I'm siding with Judge Lauren. That's one big mess. Unlike Ms. Bargy's husband, Mr. Lawson had no relationship with the child in question. He claimed that when he tried to be in the child's life several times, Ms. Bargy was evasive because she wanted her husband to be the father of the child.
Right now, I don't have a relationship because when Miss Bargy left, we have talked and tried to set up times for me to see her, but there is a lack of information.
You feel like she's being evasive.
Your Honor, I have given him plenty opportunities to see her. I've called him 3 and 4 days in advance and said, look.
Could Mr. Lawson be lying about trying to see her child? Who knows? Ms. Bargy made one thing clear to the judge. She claimed that if Mr. Lawson ended up being the father, she wouldn't want him anywhere near her child.
If Mr. Lawson is McKenna's biological father, have you thought about where you go from here?
If Mr. Lawson is her father, I do not want him to be a part of her life, period. Like, I want rights terminated because my daughter deserves so much better. My husband has been there and took care of her.
She must really dislike Mr. Lawson. Well, it's time we reveal the DNA results and bring their paternity drama to an end. Let's see if Ms. Bargy's prayers are going to be answered.
In the case of Bargy versus Lawson, pertaining to whether Mr. Bargy or Mr. Lawson is the father of 2-month-old McKenna Bargy, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Lawson.
This woman is involved with at least 4 different men. Mrs. Shaw, her daughter Kiona, and LeBron Matthews are in court for completely different things. Mrs. Shaw because she hopes Mr. Matthews is not Kiona's father. Kiona is here because she hopes Mr. Matthews is her father. Mr. Matthew is here because, oh well, he just got a new suit.
I tried to get a DNA test. And when we went before the magistrate, he looked at me and told him that he never slept with me.
Yes, it was true because
you told the magistrate you had never had a sexual relationship with Ms. Shaw.
I would say that I was a womanizer and went in there and lied.
Okay.
Whoa, wait a minute. In these court cases, we hear situations about baby mamas and exes being in court together, but this time it's way different. The relationship between these two people that brought about Kiona seems so much wilder than anything I thought.
Amen.
So when he told this lie, what happened?
I looked at him, I turned around and I looked at his wife. And
did somebody say wife?
Yeah, they both were married.
So you, and you had a husband?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so you came to court with your wife?
Correct.
No wonder you said you never had sex with this woman. Okay.
What a wild turn of events. It absolutely sounds like a plot from a TV show. What an interesting story. How are both parties doing the same thing to their partners, cheating on them with one another? Then, why did Ms. Shaw act so surprised to see that he has a wife?
And the way I looked at it is we both was having fun. We both was young, you know, and when she told me she was pregnant, I was too busy trying to enjoy myself because I wasn't trying to be with no one woman. I already had a wife.
So the point is, when you stood in the courtroom with your wife and you said you never slept with Ms. Shaw and you knew you weren't telling the truth, was that because you were scared to lose your wife, or is that because you did not want to be bothered with a child?
A little bit of both.
Now, all of that suddenly adds up. With so many men in her life growing up, Kiona must have felt like she never had a father regardless. Imagine being around so many father figures and their respective children and still feeling unseen. This one thing would have constantly gotten her sad and needy of fatherly love.
What do you remember?
I remember it being really uncomfortable, honestly. I felt like I was the stepchild. Like, you know, the way that he was with his other kids, he wasn't like that with me. So I wanted him to feel the way he felt about his other kids about me.
I did, but I wasn't really there either. You know, if I wasn't at work, I was ripping and running.
Well, whoops. Speaking of the men in Kiona's life growing up, her mother, Mrs. Shaw, did not hold back. She kept them coming, from her ex-husband to her present husband and all the men in between. This woman may or may not have deprived herself of some things in life, but men were not on the list.
he was not the only man that I had slept with. Other
Were
men
you
besides
honest
my husband.
about that to Miss Thompson, your daughter?
Yes, she's known all her life.
So why did you open the case against Mr. Matthews if you always knew that there was another possibility?
Oh my goodness. It does seem like these two go way back in time. From everything that happened during their relationship, it's no brainer they even have a baby in the first place, really. The energy in court today is quite light too, compared to the usual hostility from both parties.
Because when she first told me that I was the dad, I didn't want to believe it because I was doing my own things. But every time I turned around, I was bringing you fish sandwich when you was pregnant. Every time you turned around, you was like, babe, I'm hungry. And at the time, you had a husband, and here it is. Wait a minute, okay, but you had threw him out.
Yeah.
But then when I came over there, you had me rubbing your stomach and all that good stuff.
I had rubbing my stomach.
And yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Stop that
and here it is, talking about bring me a fish sandwich over to the house.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I've had it up to here with these two. Isn't that interesting? I absolutely did not see this coming. How exactly did a married man and a married woman have a baby for one another from an external party? Oh boy.
So you remember that.
Did
But
that.
wait, I want to understand this. So you're pregnant, but your husband's somewhere else.
Right.
Right.
Because
And
see,
your,
that's how that came
your
about.
lover's coming over to feed you some fish sandwiches.
Because my husband was still in and out at the same time when I got pregnant. But that 6 months, I had threw him out of the house.
Oh boy, what a turn of events. She was not just cheating on her husband with one man, but 5 different men. Now that Kiona was born, it appears that Mr. Matthews lost his sweet spirit? Come on. Several scenarios point to him not doing up to the bare minimum.
When's the last time you saw Mr. Matthews?
I was a junior in high school, so it's been about 14 years.
Oh my goodness. So, Mr. Matthews, your testimony is true. You've been a pretty bad dad.
Yeah, I was a terrible father.
And that's why you're here to right your wrongs.
Right, that's correct.
Well, well, well. There's just too much drama unraveled at court with this case. The whole court is bleeding with drama right now. From Kiona's end to Mr. Matthews and his new suit, then back to Ms. Shaw and all her men.
My grandmother, went over there and seen the baby because where Miss Shaw was living at the time, rumors fly around. First my grandmother told my mother, then my mother told me, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna sit back there and say yes.
What did they say?
She said, well, the baby look like you. I said, no, it don't. I'm not gonna sit back because I didn't want my wife to know. Well, my mother told my wife.
Oh!
Oh my goodness, what a circus that really must have been. After the bickering from all sides of court, we finally have all we're here for. The stories from the past are enough and the results are in. Who is the father of this young woman with so many childhood scars?
Mr. Brooks is not her father. What are you feeling in this moment, Miss Shaw?
That's what she needed. Be the father. He's not gonna be there.
Mr. Matthews, you are not the father. I'm so sorry, Kiona.
Wow.
Neither gentleman is her biological father.
She'll always be mine no matter what.
In this situation, Mr. Walls claimed to have been away for a while, and when he got back, he saw the defendant, Ms. Walker, having some funny business with another man. He claimed that she was a serial cheater, and he was certain he was not the father of the child. This was how he opened his case.
Mr. Walls, you say that after spending a short time away from Ms. Walker, you caught her with someone else's hands in her cookie jar.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you say Ms. Walker is a serial cheater and there is no way you are her child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
It looks like the long wait to get her number was worth it after all. In no time, things got very romantic between them. They started spending time together and going on dates.
I'm from Detroit. I love Belle Isle.
Oh, yeah, that's the spot right there. So we started going out there, spending time by the water. I felt it was romantic, And
so, Ms. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor.
He seemed like he was a gentleman courting you. You went out with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
It was a good relationship at first?
It was good in the beginning until I found out I was pregnant. And when I found out I was pregnant, I told him, but he talked about he wanted a DNA test.
I knew we were about to get to the bad part, but was he really a family member, Ms. Walker? Well, we are going to find out. The funny thing about this couple was that even though they had a very lovely time together, they never got into an actual relationship.
Did this turn into a real relationship is the point? Okay, that took too long. So it was not a relationship. So you all were having sex.
Yeah.
Without protection, but not in a relationship. So when she told you she was pregnant and it was your child, you had doubt.
Yeah.
Your Honor, when I told her I was pregnant, and he had said, well, I need to take a DNA test because he said he didn't trust me.
But she admitted to cheating, though.
Did she just admit to cheating? Wow. If I were in his shoes, I would probably have doubts about the baby as well. As if that was not enough, Mr. Walls went on to talk about a situation where he actually caught Ms. Walker in another man's car. This was how he began the story.
My house on Ohio. Coming down Finkel, I turn on her block. I look at the car in the driveway like, what the what? So I said, wait a minute. I goes all the way back around the corner, come back, slow down. I look like, no, that don't look like Dominique in that car. Like, that ain't Miss Walker, like, no. So I said, forget it, I drive on around again.
You on your third lap?
Yeah, I'm on my third lap now. I'm doing a Hollywood stop now like, yeah, that's her.
A Aha, you've been caught, Ms. Walker. If indeed she was pregnant and the baby belonged to Mr. Wills, she had no right to do anything with another guy. Moving on, Mr. Wills was not done listening to the scenarios he witnessed, which made him doubt the baby.
I call her phone, she'll say she at home. I go to her house, knock on the door. Her mama come downstairs and say, Dominique not here. Dominique went over her god sister's house. I just talked to Dominique, she said she was home. This happens a couple of times.
No,
my gosh, I wish your mama was here.
Because we're gonna start from the time he said he was living with his baby mama.
Oh, that explains why they couldn't get into a proper relationship. They can't even make a complete sentence without yelling at each other. Again, Mr. Wills went on to explain that with his other 5 kids, he had pregnancy symptoms, but with Ms. Walker's child, he never felt any such symptoms.
Looking up a little bit, I'm feeling a little nauseous. And with her pregnancy, I had none of that.
How many other kids do you have?
I got 5 other kids.
Okay. You had pregnancy symptoms with all 5?
Yeah, pretty much.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow. It looks like he wasn't lying after all. The funny feeling is actually a real thing. Could that mean the baby does not belong to him? Well, the DNA results are about to reveal just that, and we will know if Ms. Walker has been lying all this while.
Mr. Wall, you are not her father. Ms. Walker, I gave you an opportunity, at least 5.
Well, I apologize. I'm sorry.
3 years. 3 years. Do you know who her father is?
Yeah.
Was it the guy in the car?
No.
Why not just be honest?
Because I was scared.
See, I'll take honesty any day. We all make mistakes.